Say hey, Yellow Jacket football fans. Welcome to the 7th week of Locker Room Predictions. And joining me is the head football coach of the Calhoun Yellow Jackets, Coach Clay. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's crazy that 7 weeks in, you wait so long for football season to get started, and then it starts, and it's almost halfway over, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, after tomorrow night's homecoming game, we got 70% of the regular season in, and it's just, like you said, it is nuts. Coach Luke, our head wrestling coach at Calhoun, will not be with us. He is taking care of some students in his room this early morning hour, so we wish him the best of luck. But we do have his picks. Let's review from last week. Coach Clay got 15 out of 19. He was the champion by far. Congratulations.
Wow, got me back in it right there.
Yes, it did get you back in it. Luke had a tough week. He only got 10 out of 19 right, and I was in the middle with 13 out of 19 correct. For the season, Coach Clay and I are tied for first place at 78 out of 110. We're bopping along at a cool 71% correct. And Coach Luke dropped off with his 10 picks. He's in second place with 76 correct. So here we go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's start off with the high school. Yellow Jackets, it is homecoming at Phil Reeves Stadium on Howland Field. We are entertaining Northwest Whitfield. And, Coach, this Northwest Whitfield team is an interesting team.
Yeah, they're very solid. Being homecoming week obviously wasn't ideal to have a big region game like this, but when you look at the schedule, sometimes you just have to fit it in where it falls.
Tell me one thing. What was your easy game in a non-region schedule? But
go
ahead.
Yeah, I know it. But it's a necessary evil, and the kids have had fun with the float building and different things all week, and have the parade today. So hopefully we can be focused and ready to go tomorrow night.
Yes, Coach Luke says that the Yellow Jackets will win, and of course, I think the Yellow Jackets will win. This Northwest Whitfield team comes in scoring about 32 a game, giving up around 10 or 11 a game. Coach Robinson has been talking all season about how much improved his defense is, and if you look at the points per game, it has improved. But this region, as you have mentioned several times, Coach, is kind of hard to figure out. There's 5 teams fighting for 4 spots.
Yes, they are.
All righty, next up on the list is Sonoraville is at LFO. Sonoraville is favored by 2 points going into this game. What do you think?
It's about time they win a close game. I think they pull this out. They've lost. They're not sure their record, but they could have 2 or 3 more wins for sure in the non-region schedule. But hopefully they go on the road. It's not an easy place to play up at LFO, but we've had some rough weather games up there before. But hopefully Sonoraville goes up there and gets a win.
I took a friend along with me to do color. We had an emergency at the last second, and I called him and went over and picked him up, and we head up there, and I mean, it didn't rain. It was just coming sideways, up and down. I don't know which way. I think the rain was coming from the ground up at one point.
It may have been. Yeah.
It was something else. Coach Luke and I think Sonoraville, the Phoenix, are going to get them a victory. Gordon Central travels up to Gordon Lee. Some of the best hamburgers in the state of Georgia out of that concession stand. And Gordon Lee has a good football team.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been there. Maybe scouting a couple times, but hopefully Gordon Central go up there and compete with them and see what they can do.
Yeah, Coach Luke and I think that Gordon Lee's got a good ground game. They've had good quarterback play. They're a pretty solid team. Gordon Central, 3 victories on the season. They're doing a whole lot better than what they've done in the past. Coach is doing a good job out there. I think Gordon Lee, particularly at home, is just too tough, as does Coach Luke. Our next pick is Rome versus hosting Lithia Springs. Rome has seemed to rebounded from that very first game bus disaster, and they're playing good ball.
Yeah, I think they get the win. Lithia Springs, we played them, I guess, in the playoffs a few years ago. They were we kind of got a bad draw in that deal, but they're a good football team. I imagine still, but I think Rome gets the win.
Yes, Coach Luke and I think the Wolves are going to get this victory. Lithia Springs, not a real good record this year so far, but as you said in the past, we've had a tough game over there. Cedartown at Dalton had to put in a couple easy ones here.
Yeah, Cedartown is rolling, all setting up for I think it's a Week 9 matchup with Cartersville.
Yes,
it should be, I guess, for the region championship. So Cedartown's rolling and Dalton's struggling right now.
Coach Luke and I agree with you that Cedartown is on a roll. Cambridge at Centennial. This isn't an easy pick. necessarily. Centennial comes in with a 5-1 record, but they are 0-0 in the region. However, Cambridge is favored by 28 points, and we know Cambridge.
Yeah, Cambridge is playing really good football. I think they're going to run the table. I think they'll go 10-0. So we'll see. But I think the Bears win big.
Yeah, Coach Luke and I are going to agree with you. We think Cambridge gets a victory. This was on last week's pick sheet, but it was postponed. Lee County versus Coffee. Both teams come in highly rated in 5A. Lee County is undefeated, ranked number 2. Coffee County is undefeated, ranked number 3. And Lee County, believe it or not, is favored by 17.
Yeah, it should be a big-time South Georgia matchup. But Lee County, I talked to Coach Kramer. He's back at Lee.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, a week or two ago. And he said they got a really good football team. So I'm going to take Lee County.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lee County, as does Coach Luke. That wraps up our high school section. We're moving on to the NCAA. South Carolina at Bama. Boy, Bama's got a chip on their shoulder.
There's going to be a lot of eyes on this game, from former players have been all over social media talking about this or that. But you're going to kind of see what Alabama's made out of. And if South Carolina was a little bit better, I think they could pull off another upset. Just kind of riding the wave of Vandy, but I think Bama gets the win at home.
Yeah, I think Bama gets the win at home too, as does Coach Luke. Believe it or not, Bama's favored by 21 points, but they think there's only going to be 51.5 points scored in the total game. So we'll see. Clemson at Wake Forest. We have a lot of ties with this Clemson Tiger program. The Demon Deacons, can they pull one off?
I don't think they can here at home. Clemson, I don't think they seem to every year lose a game that kind of makes you that they should win, or you think they should win, but I think they get the win here on the road.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to handle things here. Wake Forest not maybe quite as strong as they were in the past couple of years with the good quarterback play. Coach Luke thinks the Tigers will win. I do too. They're favored by 20.5 points. The Red River rivalry at the world's largest state fair takes place this Saturday. Texas versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, just given the timing. Next week is Texas, Georgia.
Yes.
So this game obviously is always circled on both their schedules, but it means a little bit different now that they're in the SEC. And, the game that everybody in the country has circled is next week with Texas, Georgia. So imagine or I just kind of wonder where the focus is. Can they come out and play well, knowing they got a huge game next week, even though this is a big game as well. So I think Texas gets the win, but this will be a good one to watch for sure.
Yeah, Texas is a 14.5-point favorite. They think there's going to only 50 points scored in this game. Quinn Ewers is going to be back starting. So is he going to be rusty? As you said, the big game's coming up next week also. These games are just tough to figure out. I've picked teams before in the past that have a double-digit point spread and they lose. Or it's just, this is a huge rivalry game. Coach Luke thinks Texas is going to win the game. I think Texas is going to win the game. Oklahoma's got a defense. If they step up and if the Texas offense is somewhat rusty, I see Oklahoma can get this victory. But we'll see how it plays. It'll be fun to watch.
Yes.
All righty, Penn State at USC. Coach Luke wants you to remember one thing before you pick this one. Teams that travel 2+ time zones this year are 1-7, and Penn State's traveling 2+ time zones.
Gotcha. I think Penn State's got a lot of hype for sure this year. I guess they're ranked in the top 5, maybe 3rd or 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So should be a really good game. This one's got me torn as well. I was hoping to get some input from Luke before. Besides that, to see who was picking. So I'm gonna go with USC.
I'll tell you who he's picking.
I'm going USC.
We all three went USC.
All right, I'm going Penn State.
You're going to go Penn
Yep,
State?
I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it to Penn State, going on the road to take that total to 2-7. Traveling 2 times.
I don't trust Mr. Coach Franklin on game day to make the right decisions, and I'm going with the home team. Okay, I'm going to forget about Luke's travel thing because these guys travel nice, but and I know they're young. But anyway, Uga is hosting the Bulldogs from Stark Vegas, Mississippi State.
Yeah, dogs and dogs. I think Georgia rolls again and gets this win.
I like this Georgia team. Yeah, Coach Luke likes the Georgia team. All three of us are going to pick Georgia. I just like this Georgia team. I think they're mostly upset proof. I just like the talent, regardless of the peripheral things that sometimes go on with an individual player this week. But Coach Smart seems to have this team wired and going in the right direction most of the time.
Yeah, they've got a lot of big games ahead of them as well.
Yes, they do.
Hopefully, not overlooking this one and can get the win and get into to Texas week.
There's a big game coming up next. It is Florida at Tennessee. The Vols laid an egg last week. A lot of criticism or a lot of talk about the freshman quarterback Nico not being able to handle a high pressure situation. You've played a lot of football. You've coached a lot of players. It is experience, and it's not a criticism. It's a growth pattern.
Yeah,
and I think the Vols benefit from the loss last week.
Yeah, you can't get experience until you get experience. So, that was a back and forth kind of wild game, but I don't think Florida has enough firepower on either side of the ball to be able to stop Tennessee. So I think Tennessee wins big.
Coach Luke thinks Tennessee's going to win. I'm going to pick Tennessee also. The heat has lessened, has gone down one notch on the oven stove on Coach Napier since they're 3-2. So we'll see what happens. My darling bride's Buckeyes travel all the way out to Oregon, fighting that 2 time zone travel thing. This is number 2 Ohio State against number 3 Oregon. This is a tough one.
It is. I'm hoping this is a time that I'll be able to watch. It should be an exciting game. It's one of those that they both need to win to, if you're in the top 5 and this is your year, supposedly they both need a win. I think Ohio State goes on the road and gets the win. Take both 2 time zone.
There you go. I'm going to go the same way. I think the Buckeyes are going to pull out a victory. I saw one score. I've seen a couple scores around that 31-24 deal. Coach Luke thinks Oregon, the home teams, in Autzen Stadium, only 53,000 people, but it is extremely loud. So he thinks Oregon's going to get it. Iowa State goes to the largest city in the state of West Virginia when the Mountaineers are hosting a home game. So let's see if can the Iowa State team pull out a victory by going to Morgantown.
Yeah, I don't know much about this one. What's the who's favored to win that one?
I'm going to tell you here in just a second as soon as I turn over my sheet. Iowa State is 5-0 on the season. They are undefeated in the conference. West Virginia's 3-2 overall, 2-0. 52.5 points for a final score. Iowa State's favored by 2.5.
Sounds tough. I'm going to go with the home team there, West Virginia, getting the win at home.
Coach Luke's going to pick the Cyclones of Iowa State. I'm going to go with Iowa State also. I just like the way they're playing. This scares me. West Virginia's tough at home. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that you're the only one correct, Coach. Our final college pick, we got to get those Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech in. They are going to North Carolina, and wow, the Tar Heels on a tailspin, but that worries me too.
Yeah, when you lose, put up 70 to James Madison, then I guess they lost the next week too. I think Georgia Tech's a good football team. I think they go on the road and win. We need to circle back to Ole Miss and LSU before we move on.
Okay,
but
all right.
I'm going Georgia Tech with this one.
All right, we'll get back to that. Sorry, I skipped it. Yeah, Coach Luke is picking Georgia Tech also. I'm going to pick Georgia Tech. I just like that team. I got to see our former sports writer from the Calhoun Times at Coach
Alex.
Diane's last home game, and he is loving it at Georgia Tech.
I'm sure he is. He's I always made fun of him. He's a Georgia Tech football fan, but a huge North Carolina basketball fan.
I know.
So I'd be interested to see who he'd want to pick on this one right here. I guess he's got to pick Tech because he's working there, but he always had kind of mixed teams that he liked.
All right, I did skip over Ole Miss at LSU. Coach, what do you think about that game?
Give me Jackson Dart on the road.
Coach takes Jackson Dart. Luke and I are going to take LSU at home. Tigers. Ole Miss's offense scares me. You've got to play really, really good defense. So hopefully LSU can do that. All right, we're going to move on to the NFL. We have 3 picks for you, and we're going to lead off with the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys have won a couple games, but what do you think about this Lions team, Coach?
Yeah, I really like watching them.
Same here.
I really like Jared Goff. He's to me one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I think it's just a game that the Cowboys are going to win at home. They're going to pull out, find a way to hang on and get the win at home.
My fellow salesman up in Ohio many, many years ago said you always pick the home team when you do the NFL, but I'm going to go against his advice. Coach Luke and I are going to go with the Detroit Lions. I'm like you. I like Jared Goff and where he is. He's so comfortable. I like the coaching staff at Detroit. I like the way they play ball, but we'll see who's correct. Falcons at Carolina. Ooh, 500-plus yards last year by their quarterback, the Falcons quarterback.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Which was great. We've gotten to watch. They've had 3 primetime games in a row, or the last 4. So the most Falcons games I've gotten to watch in a long time. I think they go on the road and get the win.
Yes, you may still be working Sunday when this one starts at 4:30. Yeah, you've been lucky. Coach Luke and I are going to go along with you. We think the Falcons go on the road and get a victory. The last one, the Commanders, what we used to know by a different name, but that is still the Washington football team, come in 4-1 on the season. The Ravens are 3-2. The Ravens are favored by 6.5, and they think there's going to be 52.5 points scored in this game. What do you think?
Interesting matchup. With the Commanders quarterback's playing really, really well right now as a rookie, but going to Baltimore and that defense and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are a different story. So I'm going to take the Ravens at home.
Yeah, a 6.5 point spread when you're betting real money by these betting sites, that's a big spread in the NFL. They think a lot of the Ravens. Coach Luke and I are going to pick the Ravens also at home. Folks, we appreciate you listening. Thank you very much, and we hope your picks are better than ours. This has been brought to you by the Calhoun Touchdown Club. You've been listening to Locker Room Predictions.